Well, this career pathway has been developed in recognition of what I believe to be the central role of general practice nurses in delivering the transformation agenda for health and social care in Northern Ireland. As such, it has been designed to help clarify and strengthen these roles and probably seeks to standardise the range of roles that currently exist. So this pathway identifies the core competencies, the educational requirements and the job descriptions for all those who are employed in general practice nursing, which includes senior nursing assistants, treatment room nurses, general practice nurses, senior general practice nurses and indeed advanced nurse practitioners. And the pathway is designed to be used as a guide for those working in nursing and those support roles, but also for those who employ and manage those staff and indeed those who provide and deliver the education. Well, I think everybody recognises that primary care is changing, and indeed there is a growing recognition of the need to expand and enhance services in general practice because of the growing and increasing demand on GP services. And I think it is now recognised that general practice nurses play a really important role in the public health agenda, supporting people to stay healthy and to stay well for as long as possible in their own community, and as such enabling them to avoid unnecessary hospital admissions. It is also recognised that further reform will only be achieved through the introduction of multidisciplinary teams. And so as I sit here today, Northern Ireland is embarking on the introduction of multidisciplinary teams in primary care, which will see general practice nurses working alongside GPs, but social workers, physiotherapists and mental health workers, all who will be joining the general practice team. And this is a truly exciting and long-awaited initiative for those who are working in general practice. And these initiatives have really only been made possible by the development of GP federations in Northern Ireland. And simply, GP federations are small organisations that bring together a number of GP practices, enabling those practices as a group to avail of a much wider range of services for their patients that might not otherwise be delivered in single practices but can be delivered through federations. Well, working in general practice really does provide fabulous opportunities for career development, both for senior nursing assistants and indeed for nurses. This is a career opportunity that might start as a treatment room nurse, as a new registrant coming into general practice, which can advance with support and targeted education on a pathway that will bring you to a career as a general practice nurse, leading care for those who have chronic disease conditions. From there, you may progress to a senior general practice nurse who is supported to become a full independent prescriber, and as such then is able to deliver nurse-led services for patients with more complex needs. And indeed, if you want to further your career again, there will be an opportunity to progress to an advanced nurse practitioner who are now recognised as holding the most senior clinical and leadership roles in the nursing profession. There are now many nurse-led clinics in general practice, and nurses are very often the first point of contact for patients. They are recognised in their own right for their clinical and specialist expertise, but we all know that nurses are much more than clinical experts. Nurses will bring to each consultation a person-centred, caring and compassionate approach to all their interactions with patients. And these roles mean that nurses working in general practice work in a very diverse landscape. Nothing is the same on any one day of the week. However, as working as by working as members of the general practice team, they are able to provide and to establish long-term sustainable relationships with both patients, their families and their communities. They are recognised in their own right for their clinical and specialist expertise, but we all know that nurses are much more than clinical experts. They bring to each consultation a person-centred, caring and compassionate approach to all their interactions with patients. These roles mean that nurses are working in a different landscape every day, but as members of the GP team, they are able to develop long-term sustainable relationships with patients, their families, and indeed the wider community. And so, what I really would encourage you to do is to look on this site at the other video clips that have been made that will describe these roles in much more detail.